The most important thing to consider when we're looking at cultural fit or values fit is to have a really clear understanding of what the culture is that we want somebody to be fitting into. It sounds obvious, but it's not always the case. The hiring manager has to have a really clear understanding and be able to articulate very clearly the sorts of culture that the person will be coming into and the style and cultural fit that they will need to be successful. Now, once we've got clarity around that, what we typically do is use behavioural interviewing to explore situations from the individual's career that really shed a light on how they deal with cultural issues or even values clashes. We like to explore the situation to understand what happened, how they focused on it and how they approached it, but moreover what they learnt from it and how they were able to apply those learnings in new and unfamiliar situations in the future. The same applies to work ethic. We're really looking to understand where the person gets their energy from and what it is that motivates them, drives them, things that they've experienced in their career that have really tested them, where they've really had to dig in and find resilience or determination. The other thing that I'd say about cultural fit is also not to dismiss the notion of diversity. Often it can be really challenging to bring somebody into the organisation who is perhaps a square peg in a round hole, but equally they can bring fresh perspectives and be a real catalyst for new ideas and innovative thinking. Every organisation has mission-critical roles that needs high performers in them. High performance is typically considered in terms of the outputs, but outputs really are a function of the what somebody does and the how somebody does it. And the how is often the overlooked part of this equation, and it really refers to competencies and behaviours and values. And it's very important to focus on how somebody achieves results, particularly in more senior roles. The other key aspect of performance is the idea of potential. And in fact, research will show that only about 29% of high performers actually have high potential. So when we're considering executives to move into those mission critical roles, we not only want strong performers, but people who have got the agility to be able to succeed in new and different situations that they may have not confronted before. There are many times when the best recruitment option is to look outside of the organisation. Sometimes we need new skills or fresh perspectives or even valuable stakeholder relationships such as customer relationships that somebody else may be able to bring into the organisation. But in most instances, it's much more healthy to look first at our internal options. Promoting from within makes a lot of sense. It creates developmental opportunities for people, it's good for retention, and it's good for the sharing of organisational knowledge and the retention of organisational knowledge within the business. Most good organisations would probably try and recruit from internal options around 60 to 70% of the time. Onboarding is a very beneficial activity that is often misunderstood or undervalued. We have a tendency to bring people into an organisation and throw them into the deep end and hope that they can swim. This is a strategy that's not always as effective as we would like it to be and sometimes can be quite damaging for the organisation and for the individual. So putting some focused effort into helping somebody come up to speed quickly is a really smart idea. Now, onboarding is more than just a simple orientation. It's a very systematic way of helping an executive to find the lay of the land, to understand the strategy of the organisation, to start to build those very critical key stakeholder relationships, and also to be able to explore some of the surprises or misconceptions that may exist as they come into the organisation and be able to work through those systematically and quickly. And this is where coaching or mentoring can be very valuable in the onboarding process, because it provides the participant or the executive somebody that they can work with to bounce ideas off, to stress test their thinking, but also to get very, very valuable advice on how to orient their way through the organisational maze most effectively.